My name is Abby and this is my story. Born and raised in Philadelphia on July 13, 1976. My father was in the service, United States Marine Corps, and my mother was a homemaker. I am the only daughter of 4 other siblings, 4 brothers, and I'm excited to be the only daughter. As a child, my father wasn't in my life. When he walked out of my life, I was about 5 years old, and my father turned out to be that my father had more than one wife. He had wives in different states, North Carolina, South Carolina, and as the only daughter, I longed for my dad. I remember nights for crying for him and just wondering, what I did, and for my father not to be present in my life. Growing up without a father was very hard for me. By the time I was about 8 years old, I was sexually molested by a family member, my grandmother's domestic partner. My dad just not being there and just protecting me. All I wanted was to be protected. And I just remember as a child just being frustrated at the world, mad at my grandmother, and I became aggressive, I became angry. I got pregnant at 13. I had my first child when I was 13 years old, just not knowing better and thinking that it was okay because I was sexually abused. And I remember just being so angry at my family that they didn't listen and they still acknowledged this man as grandpa and dad. And I was like, how can you acknowledge this man and he's a whole monster for doing what he did to me? I hated men. I hated my life. At times I wanted to commit suicide. I remember taking a whole bottle of pills because I tried to commit suicide. And I just remember I just wanted to die. I felt like I wasn't loved. It was like, what more can happen to me? I remember just yelling at God and just yelling and screaming and because they say if you ask God for help, that he listens. And for a long time, I used to like, well, why isn't God listening to me? Why doesn't he hear me? And he hears everybody else. And I remember just being so jealous of everybody that said, oh, God speaks to me and God listens to me. God answers my prayers. I'm like, well, he's not listening to me. He's not answering my prayers. And then it dawned on me as I got older, Abby, you need to listen. And that was my problem. I did too much talking and wasn't listening, and I was just all over the place. And I was a high school dropout and I just wanted to do what I wanted to do. I finally listened. I finally listened, and I took God into my heart, and I became a Christian, and what they will call club hopping. I would go church hopping. I went to so many churches, and they would welcome me with open arms. My father walked back into my life, well, maybe in my late 20s. My father became homeless, and through his struggle of homelessness, he reached out to me wanting help. His addiction to alcohol took a toll, and I just had to forgive him, and I did. I drove 20 hours back and forth from Philadelphia to South Carolina. Despite of him walking out of my life, despite of him not being in my life, he was still my father, regardless of any situation. Bringing him back here to Philadelphia, I made him a promise. My promise was to give him a haircut because that's what he asked for. He died on me 5 days later, end-stage liver disease. He passed before I was able to keep my promise. I started a nonprofit organization called Salvations and Sorrows, an acumen for S.O.S, that I provide free haircuts to the homeless. I just reached a milestone of 1,000 free haircuts by my first year anniversary of April 30th this year. I find comfort, just to be able to provide a free haircut to someone. And that's where I find that I give back to the Lord for doing so much for me. But homelessness homelessness it's real. It can happen to any of us. We're just a paycheck away from being homeless. And I knew that God kept his promise, that I was going to be okay. He took me out of a dark place that I was in for a very, very long time. And I'm okay, and I'm making a difference, changing the world one haircut at a time.